Welcome to the Coach's Corner. This is a video series where we answer the questions that we get about coaching. My name is Dawn Poteau, and I have the pleasure of being joined today by two other coaches, Lauren Ammon and Cheryl Czach. I hope you find this series helpful. Cheryl, you want to pull a question?
Sure. I kind of feel like Alice in Wonderland for some reason. I don't know. What is the ROI of coaching? And I put this question in there because I get this a lot. I do quite a bit of corporate coaching, corporate work. And when organizations are considering investing in coaching, they, of course, want to know what that return on investment will be. And there's loads of research around this. And I'll go last because I have some of that. But let's maybe talk about, well, you can answer it any way you want, but I'm curious to know, what are some of the benefits of coaching besides financial that we should talk about? Because those are equally as important as like the financial return on investment.
Yeah, I'll go. So kind of going back to this first question, what I've also realized is one of my superpowers is being able to kind of live in that abstract world and really, I'm not really driven by facts and data. Never have been. So for me, coaching, the ROI of coaching is when you start down the path and a door is opened up into your mind and your heart. You start to see a discovery in yourself of how you can fix that one challenge that you're facing. But what you recognize is when that door opened and you made the decision to walk through, you find answers and or solutions to other problems you didn't necessarily maybe were consciously know that you had, or you can apply the learning that you found by walking through that door in other areas. So it's that moment of you're in a coaching session, you get, quote unquote, get through that challenge, although let me be clear, it's rarely ever you go through a session, things are fixed. But you then, the next day or a couple days from that moment, something hits you where you experience something and there's this light bulb that's like, oh my gosh, that applied to what I just worked on with my coach. And it's this snowball effect of once you open a door to one thing, it then opens up other doors for you to make the conscious choice to walk through just to determine how you can solve that problem. And the best part of coaching is it gives you the confidence, albeit in steps, to solve those challenges on your own, because you can't be with a coach every single minute of the day. And quite honestly, the way that I look at coaching is I don't really want to be your coach for your life, right? I want to be able to give you something, give you tools, allow you the opportunity to self-discover as you go. And so for me, that's the ROI of coaching, is that you open up one door, but then you can actually open up countless others to root through what it is. And to me, to be given tools to live my life more effectively than I have up to that point of starting to coach is priceless.
Yeah, that's fantastic. How about you, Dawn?
Great. I was thinking of a lot of different things as Lauren was talking, because I think we've all experienced those moments of, as a coach being coached and hiring coaches to help us. It's those after the conversations. And I do something with my clients before our coaching call is, what have you noticed, in the past week? And it's always interesting to hear and see the comments come in. And I think the one thing that I have come to find out in this last year or so, where I've been really focusing on this and certainly doing it in other parts of my life and my career, but I'm just reflecting most recently, it's having those moments. And I tell the story of a client that I worked with and just seeing the change in the level of confidence come back where there was doubt and uncertainty and is this the right thing for me? Is this the right direction? Did I make the right choice? And following them along the journey. And And so I think it's hard, like Lauren said, to quantify some of that, but it's priceless to people when they can experience it. And I think all three of us have probably had those moments through coaching that we've gone through where it's like those big light bulb moments and you're like, oh my gosh, this all makes complete sense. And I'm so glad I made this investment in myself or my organization, did however you come to it. But I think it's just that taking the time that we don't always take for ourselves and that little bit of self-care that can really help us move ourselves and our lives forward.
Yeah. When you've experienced coaching, you get it. You understand what that return on investment is, and it's substantial. And I think when someone is coming to coaching and they haven't experienced it yet, it's hard for them to understand what they're going to get from it. It feels maybe a little nebulous. It feels, not concrete. And when Lauren answered the question, she says she doesn't like data, and I'm the opposite of that. Every time I'm preparing to give a talk or a webinar or whatever, I immediately go to, what does the research say? I probably should have been a researcher maybe, but I love the data. So I actually pulled some data on a really interesting study done by Manchester Inc., where they interviewed executives that had been through coaching from Fortune 1000 companies. And their research showed that the average ROI that they reported was 6 times the investment that was made. There is also a study done by Metrics Global, and they did a survey with some very large companies, including like Booz Allen Hamilton, for example, so very significant companies. And they actually said that the average return was $7.90 for every dollar that was spent on coaching. And then I found this really interesting study done by Personal Management Association. And this is a study that they did about training and coaching combined. And they found that when an organization combines individual one-on-one coaching along with leadership training, productivity increased on an average of 86%. And when they did training alone, productivity only increased by 22%.
Wow.
And this makes sense to us, right? Because when training can be effective, group training can be effective. I do it. I'm sure you both do it. But when you can take that one step further and combine it with individual one-on-one coaching, the ROI is much more significant. So that's just a little, if anyone's interested in more research on that, you can just Google ROI on leadership coaching or executive coaching. There's tons of information out there.